Hey guys, I'm Sam with Creekstone Outdoor Living. Welcome to our brand new showroom and grill store in Fulshear, Texas. I know you were expecting James, but we are hosting Center Technologies here for the Hot Ones Take Challenge. I'll turn it over to James now and he'll let you talk about what's going on.
Thanks, Sam.
I'll go get the wings.
Please, yeah, we couldn't be more excited for that. Guys, thank y'all for joining us. Middle of your day, stopping the IT work to come watch us kill ourselves over hot wings. I've got a small group with us today. They're going to talk about cybersecurity and business continuity, how the two really marry together. As we build that story out, we're going to get hotter and hotter wings, to the tune of 10 different wings that we're going to enjoy talking about a little bit on how much the heat is killing us, but then trying to stay on topic as well. Y'all have done these events with me before probably. Most of y'all have been here, but some of y'all haven't. So let me back up a little bit and explain why we do this type of thing, what the intent is, and then my hope is that you'll be engaged the entire time we're on. First, Center does these types of events because we're all about tech awareness. We know y'all are busy, so getting your head out of the weeds to take a look at what's changing and what's coming is pretty tough to do. So we want to do this 1 hour episode to really give you a sense of what's going on and what's changing. Second, we enjoy doing it in a fun way. Everyone joins training seminars where they're going to watch a screen share, watch a PowerPoint. Well, not today. Instead, we're going to kill ourselves. And to do so, we're going to do it by eating wings. So you see my milk here, it's ready to go. You see our big cups, they're ready to go. We're going to try to survive throughout. If you've been part of these events before, y'all know Taylor Littlejohn has always been our producer. We listen to your loud voices. She's out of here. We know you were tired of her. We were too. So with us now is Haley Daigle. Haley, thank you for joining us as our producer.
Hi, James. Thanks for having me.
Hope you can keep up with all the chatter on the what do you call that these days? The Wistia group chat?
I'm going to try my best.
Yeah. So guys, have a question, chime in there, and we're going to get that to the group here. So make sure your voices are heard. Then my panel, I got 3 of us today. Ariel Davenport, he's one of the famous Center Technologies veterans. He's our head solutions architect. If you're a part of the Houston market, maybe part of our Dallas market, pretty strong guarantee y'all have met him before. If you are a prospect to us, he's responsible for a team that designs the solutions that we present to you. Thank you, Ariel. Next to him, Scott White. Scott's a systems engineer or pre-sales architect for Arctic Wolf Networks, a preventative cybersecurity team. And then Kyle Sandoval on the Cohesity staff as a pre-sales engineer as well. Worried more about the business continuity side. I'll tell you, the story he tells blends more into security these days than it does into traditional data backup. So why don't we start with what you've taught me, Scott, and that is that the first way to measure your business continuity is to limit the blast radius of a potential attack. Blast radius wasn't something we talked about 10 years ago. Give me a little sense of what that means and why y'all discuss it.
Yeah, it's an important aspect of what we do. It's reducing your attack surface, right? So trying to minimize how much exposure you have to the bad guys, right? A lot of our attacks come from the external exposures, the external risks you have. So working hard to patch those holes and reduce that exposure and reduce that blast radius that you like to use is a huge focus of what we do with our customers.
Yeah, I got to imagine that if the entire company's hit, recovery from that's a lot harder than if a department or a single system is hit.
Absolutely.
So finding ways to prevent a widespread attack is step one in the building a business continuity program.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting to it as fast as possible, limiting lateral movement, containing the threat as soon as you can, obviously prevents widespread damage. And yeah, absolutely. If you can minimize that attack to one workstation, even better. And it's all about getting back to doing work, right? So
back up and functional.
That's right.
So probably the best way to design or figure what Center would do for you in this is that we are not the group doing the preventative maintenance. Oftentimes your technology, Arctic Wolf, is doing that. We're not the ones designing the backups, Cohesity, you're often doing that, but we're putting the entire structure together based on your business needs on how those tools are going to wind up making your business continuity plan or desires realistic. So with that, Sam's giving me a look. He's ready for us to go ahead and start our path to so we're going to see Sam real quick and talk about what we're about to begin with.
Hey guys, I'll let y'all get warmed up on these.
Excellent, thank you. Hey, so in the group chat, I don't know if everybody's okay with eating hot wings. Are these Y'all like buffalo wings? Where's your favorite place to get them? Put it in there. Tell me your favorite flavor. Is it a dry rub like lemon pepper? Is it something hotter or wet? These are gonna be fairly mild. Starting off from left to right. In front of you, the sauces are on the screen. That far one on the left is pretty mild. We're only talking about 1,800 Scoville units. If you're unfamiliar with Scoville units, that's like a mild or entry-level jalapeno. And we're building up to 52,000 Scoville units. Which again, to put that in perspective, we're looking at about like cayenne pepper at that stage. So we should be able to dig right through.
Right here?
On the right, yeah. So we're gonna jump right in with the first one, that of a jalapeno. And then I'm gonna rub my eyes. Not bad. Remember guys, 1 bite's all that's required, but if you find one you like, feel free to eat 2 bites.
Yes.
Some of our favorite guests are here watching today. If any of y'all, Carl, if you need to come eat one of these I took a bite out of, come on over. And then to the team, if you look to your knee, you have napkins just so you know they're there before you rub your eyes.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get back into it. Would you admit that real quick, that's hotter than what I expected on the entry level?
A little bit, yeah.
All right, so we're jumping with 2 feet there. That was a good jalapeno in that
Got
case.
good flavor to it.
Good
though.
taste.
Right? All right, so we talked about blast radius. We had some changes recently in what we've seen in the cyber landscape, new variants of ransomware, adjustments on what the focal point's been. This year, it's been a lot about business email compromise up until about June. June hit, and we stopped talking about business email compromise and bank fraud, and we went back into talking about new variants of ransomware and its evolution. Did y'all hear that there was a new record in ransomware payments?
Yes. Yeah.
70 million?
70 million.
70 million? It was done on extortion, right, Scott?
Yeah. That's the new thing that they've kind of pivoted to, right?
Blackmail over actual encryption?
Well, the backup technology has gotten so good, everybody's gone with offsite backups, and it's been a little bit harder, what do they call it when they have the hardened backups that you can't touch?
Yeah, immutable.
Immutable backups, thank you. And then,
We all have a tough time saying it.
Yeah, especially after a couple of hot wings,
Few more
right?
wings.
But yeah, no, so backup technology has gotten better, so attackers have pivoted, and this, I call it sort of extortion as a service is the new thing. It's, we'll not encrypt your data, we'll steal it, and then we'll challenge you to pay or we'll release.
Yeah, so those who are unfamiliar, we're talking about a $70 million payout just on the fear of maybe I would get attacked. The attack occurred, they stole some data, they proved they had 10 terabytes of data, and just the fear of what is it you have was enough to get that going. So we got to kind of look back to look forward. Y'all remember Colonial Pipeline?
Yeah.
Y'all remember SolarWinds, the SolarWinds attack? Scott, you jokingly told me which one. There's been a few of them. When I look at the way these have started to evolve, a lot of companies, when they don't know what they have in preventative measures and they haven't practiced it, their fear is there's more taken than there really is. In the Colonial Pipeline, they brought down all operations over 100 gigs of stolen data.
Yeah.
Ariel or Kyle, any of y'all see that in the same way that a customer doesn't know what they have, so if an attack occurs, they overreact, pull the plug?
Yeah, I think that's the challenge that you see is that when you have an attack, you see customers that will pull the plug, try to knee-jerk response and not look through a definitive plan, right? That's the biggest challenge that we see is that when you have these systems, you have a great insight into that, great optics, you have a great recovery strategy is that plan that really needs to take forth, so they just pull the plug knee-jerk, and a lot of times that leads to a lot other supplies or attacks in the network.
Yeah.
That same type of lack of information can also impact your restore times as well, because a lot of times you're not going to try to put that data back into the production environment until you know you're safe.
Yep.
And if you don't have good information on the assets, the security layers that you've got in place, you'll never be able to restore with confidence.
Yeah, so you have a whole other system there where not only is it your desire on how you want business continuity to work, but in the moment of chaos, double checking that you have everything clean, that you restored at a certain point. Let's come back to that. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
We've seen other evolution occur where the ransomware variants are mimicking VPN connections. We've seen that advertised from Palo Alto. I believe Sophos had an issue. We had a couple of the software VPNs. What does that look like? How do I know what I'm seeing? If I'm opening my computer to connect, how do I know it's mimicked? Is there any way to know?
It's tough. It's
I'll
tough.
leave a wing to that.
Yeah.
Y'all want to go to number 2?
Yeah.
That one was weak. No, not weak. I like that one though. That was Sam's Sahouse, a smoky flavor called Sam's Sahouse.
Sahouse.
I think it's supposed to be sauce, right?
Sahouse.
Sahouse, which is funny because we're in Sam's house. Thank you, Sam, for having us. But this is no affiliation. Is that right, Sam?
As far as I know.
So if you have, boy, that one's warmer. Okay, so if you have a plan for remote connection to be secure, and it's done so through VPN, how do we double check that that's working optimally or that it's being mimicked? Is there a way to know?
It comes down to monitoring, right? That's a trusted system. So if there's a some kind of 0-day or SSL VPN breach that they're using, some kind of external vulnerability, making sure that you've got like multi-factor authentication and things like that set up on those trusted systems is a huge step in making sure that they can't be taken advantage of that way. So yeah, in terms of like as a user trying to tell if it's up to the IT folks, it's up to the admins. Yeah.
So now I'm in the system via someone's logging in via faulty VPN. Does that give me access to the keys of the kingdom, or do I likely reroute that user somewhere different, completely different network in that case, or both options?
So typically you would want the client VPNs to be restricted to some pretty specific areas inside of the network.
Yep.
A lot of times those SSL VPNs will target specific applications rather than everything that an administrator might have access to. That being said, reviewing a pen test for a customer recently with just client level access to a domain workstation, they were able to breach everything. So if you don't have that second layer of protection for administrative access, it can be rough.
That's solid. So you have a good point there. We can scan and see if there's gaps for vulnerabilities. We have preventative measures to scan for behavioral changes. And then when they both fail, well, maybe it was by VPN, maybe it was another way they got in, and we got to be able to restore quick, right? All right. So you mentioned MFA. Appreciate you bringing that up. Show of hands online. Anyone have MFA? Everyone's got it. Everyone complains about it. Oftentimes there's gaps. We've learned over time there's multiple ways to roll MFA out. Sometimes just enabling it, other times enforcing it. There's still sometimes gaps.
Yeah.
So to make things worse, there's ransomware variants that are now stealing MFA tokens. And now, what was the point of ever having it to begin with?
Yeah.
So any thoughts on MFA theft? What if we can't trust it, what's left?
Well, it's a great control, right? It's not the silver bullet. It's not the end all be all, right? Credential stuffing or MFA jamming, right, is another attack where users will get bombarded with, if they lose their username and password, the bad guy gets it, and they start getting bombarded with hits, and it's hard to tell which MFA push was yours and which one may be a bad guy. So that's something people do to get by it. It's still better than not having it at all. So acting like it's and then there's the more complicated attacks that you're talking about, right? Like where they take over they can intercept that, they can man in the middle that token authentication. Much more advanced, still concerning, but absolutely need to have it, and not something that we should walk away from just because it's not perfect, right? I think sometimes don't let good be the enemy of great, right? We still need it. Still should be deployed, especially on highly important systems. Yeah.
So good. Our businesses are doing what we wanted. They're investing in preventative measures, MFA, VPN for secure connection, EDR. We're hearing it's now deletable by certain variants. They have a rootkit that's installed that deletes that. They've been disabling EDR. Is this dramatically different to delete it?
No, it's just the next evolution, right? It's been something that attackers have done, for a long time. They're just getting better at it, and a lot of the malware that some of these groups use, like Lockbit and Black Hat, a lot of the malware that they use when they drop on box is part of their it's part of their deployment strategy, and it is. Some of these run like a business. It's part of their deployment strategy to look and see what antivirus is running on that machine and what they can take off. And absolutely, disabling your EDR is a huge part of what they do. It can make security teams completely blind to what's going on box, and unless you have that defense in depth. If you have some other monitoring, like PowerShell monitoring, the live off the land attacks after that EDR agent is gone, that's where they make their money. Those live off the land attacks inside the existing components on that system. Once the EDR agent is blind to that, having some controls around seeing what's going on with PowerShell in that box is huge. And then network traffic monitoring, right?
Yep.
Having that good defense in depth, having it all go to a SIM, a central location, still very important if you lose that EDR. So,
Y'all disagree?
No.
Who would disagree? So
James, we got a couple of questions coming in. If you want to answer a few right now.
I think I'm on board with that. Should we eat a third wing while we hear this question?
Yeah.
The first question is,
Let's eat
they
away.
want a temperature check on you,
I'm hot.
and we're only on wing 3.
We got lights and we have doors open. It warmed up a little bit. I got a little warm, but
All right, first real question.
Spice ones.
How many billion-dollar companies don't have off-site immutable backups?
I mean, billion or million?
Million or billion?
They said billion.
Million.
I like that we asked. Like we're gonna have a different answer.
I
Yeah.
would hope that most of the billion-dollar ones have it.
Yeah. I think we're starting to see a transition more to that, right? Where we're trying to understand how we handle a air gap, true air gap to measure with regards to that. So we're starting to see a lot of companies transition to some type of digital or offsite replication, whether through replicating to a different data center or to a managed provider, right, in that case, so they can recover. And even into clean room space, right? You look at a couple of the attacks that have happened here recently where the attack happens, they go to recover, and the insurance company or maybe even a 3-letter agency has halted the access to those systems for investigation, right? Then they need somewhere to recover into. So that offsite or that as a service is really helpful to recover into at that point, into a clean room environment, inspect what is in there like we were talking about earlier, right? You could just recover the same stuff that would be deployed again against you.
Okay.
Hey, $1 million or $1 billion, they're all trending towards doing it at this stage. It seems to me that used to be, you only heard maybe Cohesity and Rubrik jumping in with the immutable pitch, and then pretty soon everyone else started coming in with an immutable solution.
Yeah.
And I still see a few out there that haven't come up with a solution. I got a great customer in the Oklahoma market leaving his backup because they refuse to evolve.
Right.
But usually they all offer something immutable. Is there a difference in immutable solutions?
I think there's a huge difference in how we define immutability. You know, I think in IT it's very easy for us to find a catch term that works and try to wrap our product or find
Big data.
something.
I feel like air gap has been abused.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So you look at that term, right, and try to understand what that means. There's products out there that have built concepts around that, but what you really want to look at is from the hardware up, is it truly immutable? Who owns that stack all the way up, right? If you're rolling your own or you're trying to build a repository that you might have to care and feed for, are you keeping the work up to keep that immutable, right? Are you hardening that kernel to make sure, or are you looking at an appliance that would provide that up the stack?
Okay. Good answer. Haley, what else are they asking? Anything else?
Yeah. Do you recommend CDP in addition to immutable backups, or is either sufficient?
CDP?
CDP.
Continuous data protection?
Correct.
Yeah, I think it comes down to your recovery time, right? Backup systems are built for mass recovery. You're looking at either business continuity or data protection, right? So I think that there's a balance sometimes between the two. You really have to look at what your business needs for recovery standpoint. Do I need to be back up in 5 minutes? What does my recovery window look like? So that might dictate if we go to a CDP type technology.
This is my favorite part of this whole thing is that like 10 years ago, we were all talking about, we would do events like this that weren't virtual, right? We would all get to a steak restaurant and a meteorologist would come and say, oh, we're going to have the worst storms in the history of storms. And it would always be an average year or just a little bit worse. Maybe a storm hits, maybe it doesn't. But we would all make decisions on, we need to really define our RPOs and RTOs. And I don't know that everyone did that. I think everyone said they need to. I don't know that everyone did it.
Yeah.
And now we sit in a stage where it's dire. If you don't really know, then you can guarantee that leadership will be breathing down IT's neck, no matter what, when there is a breach, because IT is going to follow what we have the capabilities of doing, not what the leadership desires.
Yeah.
Well, kind of to Kyle's point earlier, right? The mistakes are made. That's why these plans, and not just RTOs and RPOs, right? But having an IR plan in place before this happens, this will be the worst day of everyone's career at that place.
Yeah.
So having a plan in place before it hits the fan is super important. Knowing what you're going to do in different scenarios. Not even if your EDR is disabled. What if your EDR blue screens your entire network, right? That probably wasn't a lot of people's business continuity plans until 2024. So knowing what you're going to do when these things go sideways is super important before it happens. That way you can respond in a very organized, methodical way. So, yeah.
Good.
I think that's the key, is response in a methodical way, right? I think you get a point where the executive leadership is pounding on you to recover, right? So you want to recover as quick as possible.
Yeah.
what do you need to do that logically to make sure that you do it in a secure fashion, right? So this instant button click recovery type stuff, you really need to step back and go, okay, what does that look like? How do we make sure that what we're cleaning, what we're recovering is actually clean?
That was it. I remember the buzzwords were active. Everybody thought they could afford it, and then they realized they couldn't. So how can I get a poor man's version with a single button, whether it be a failover or a restore? Well, we're learning that that's not necessarily perfect either. We need to orchestrate automation where we can, but there's still something you got to do manually or practice.
Yeah.
For sure. One of the encouraging things that I've seen in some of our customers and just the market in general is the increase in tabletop exercises where people are actually running through those DR plans on a regular basis, making up some scenarios where what if my lead developer gets compromised, he's got access to everything, how do we make sure that that data is available? And again, to your point, it's not always instant, it's, hey, we got to go unlock it from the other office. But
I guess times have changed. You can't call it hit by the bus anymore. Like that's not
Right.
politically correct. It's
maybe not.
yeah.
Haley, are there more questions, or should we?
Well, we can touch
can
on
ask
one.
more.
Yeah, we can do one more right now. Michael Henderson asked how to prevent takeovers, or how do we prevent takeovers? He says that we have implemented conditional access policies on our 365 and have implemented MFA on all admins. And if the staff is outside our IP fence, for example, if they're at one of our locations, MFA is not needed. Is there anything else that they can do?
Yeah, Michael, that's great. Michael's in the financial industry. Michael, those are things you're doing, I think, within the 365 stack. Those conditional access policies and the way those were described that Haley read, they all sound like they're isolated to the 365 stack, which are hugely important. Part of Center's secure by default strategy is implementing those at onboarding. But that's not all you can do. You need a lot more likely if you want to limit especially in your industry, limit the odds of being hit and suffering from it. Any advice on what you'll tell them?
I would say identity monitoring. I didn't hear that as part of the question, but it was kind of a long question, so maybe I missed it. But like making sure that your accounts that are logging in, service accounts, things like that, making sure that those accounts that are supposed to be like elevated or privileged accounts are doing the things they're supposed to be doing, right? So making sure that people are who they say they are, and that goes a step past MFA. I think that's a huge important part that kind of people forget about is, making sure that your admins are doing what they're supposed to be doing, making sure people aren't getting added to the admins group. That's kind of, I think,
That's what bank fraud taught us was we got to figure out ways that someone who's controlling an active account that's not supposed to be is picked up.
Yeah.
You're gonna add?
Agree.
You had something? I thought I just interrupted you.
Nope.
Now.
Nope.
Cool. All right, Haley, we'll come back to more questions, or do you want to touch on any more?
No, I think that's good for now. We can touch on more later.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, keep them coming, guys. We'd much rather talk about what y'all want to talk about than what we want to talk about. Let's eat a fourth.
Yeah.
We are definitely in the cayenne range, out of the jalapeno range.
Yeah, the third one was pretty hot.
I eat jalapenos with like everything, so I thought that was going to be a breeze. That was hotter than I expected.
Yeah. That one, not so much.
This one's a little warm. You're not feeling this one?
Not feeling that
The
one.
previous one was much hotter.
You think so? I must have got a big glob on mine. What you're eating now is one of the hot ones, Los Calientes Verde, which I think is Spanish for the Calientos green.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
That's I don't know. Maybe I got all the sauce and y'all didn't get me on that one. That's pretty hot.
I like the flavor of it. Yeah.
I want to pivot for a minute from attack vectors to just trust. We kind of all beat up employee trust. Security awareness training is something that just about everyone at this stage has a flavor of some kind. Arctic Wolf, y'all offer a solution for that that's an alternate to the know before, which is kind of the 800-pound gorilla in the industry. But what about vendor trust? Vendor risk assessments are something we've done a lot of events or speaking points blogs on. It seems like that's where we're kind of headed now, is that our trusted vendors fail us, and that ends up being a business impact missed within the design of our business continuity planning. Any thoughts on vendors failing us, maybe today? Any vendors fail us today? AT&T and Microsoft are down. I don't know if anyone's got those two. Sort of two big ones.
Yeah, that's definitely a struggle, especially with your whole internet connection. What I was going to say with related to vendor trust, one of the things that has been a little bit of a burden for cloud service providers, but I think it's been a really good step, is Microsoft has enabled some additional security granularity in the way that we connect to our customers, which is honestly, it's been a little bit of a challenge sometimes. People don't want to give vendors access to everything, which as a service provider, I want that access so that I can help you fix all of the things. So it's a mixed bag, because I know that, hey, granular permissions are good, everyone should follow them, but actually just give me everything doesn't always work. So it's good to see the industry maturing there.
Good, yeah, good answer. I'm enthralled by this idea. We had it hit us at one point. We have a SaaS application that was not SaaS when we first bought it. It was on a server, and we controlled a lot of its uptime. We found out after the fact that that application was hosted on an AWS geo that had an outage. So we unexpectedly, indirectly were impacted by that. We saw it recently on a bigger scale, like the largest scale.
The
CrowdStrike. We can say their name.
Oh,
Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't know we were
the
going to get
news
sued.
already said.
Trying not to get sued.
Breaking news, guys. That giant July outage was CrowdStrike.
Yeah.
Microsoft simultaneously had an issue at the same time, right?
Well, yeah, they were.
I think we're
they were
going to
hitting
have
him,
a fifth wing while y'all are talking about this, though. So do you want to pause for a minute, or do you want to jump right in on that?
No, let's see.
This is a big jump. So Scoville unit wise, guys, we've gone the 1,800 at the beginning. We're now at 50,000. And
That was okay.
I feel like three of us know how to eat wings. Somehow, you didn't look like you took a bite out of your wings yet.
No, I'm flipping them over. Sorry.
No, it's perfect.
I'm letting them look good.
Very neat eater.
Yeah.
That one's good.
I feel like this one so far was
Ooh,
less
that-
hot than
yeah,
the
that's
last
got
one.
some habanero
kick
to
to
it,
it.
I think, huh?
That one does.
So
Yeah.
habanero's our next journey. Just to give you guys some hope, we're not yet to habanero.
Oh, good.
There we go. It's just a hint of it.
Just a hint of
Hint of
habanero.
habanero.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think-
CrowdStrike shows
well, I
up.
was just
You
gonna say,
put
vendor
good money
trust-
into your.
Well, so CrowdStrike is one of our partners. We have a lot of different EDR partners. And I think one of the things that I think the whole industry is struggling with is everybody has tool fatigue. Everybody keeps buying all these tools, and they're saying that we're going to make you more secure. And the fact of the matter is, ransomware payouts continue to go up. Business email compromise is still a huge issue. And we have all the phishing tools that you can think about. And so I think a lot of people are kind of burned out and down on the security space as a
Fatigue.
whole.
Yeah.
But
It's a real thing.
Yeah. And I think just thinking about third-party vendors, a lot of our customers do like the questionnaires and things like that. But
Yep.
it's sort of a trust system. And I know we were supposed to have CMMC and some other things around government, attestation around third-party vendors for government and things. So I mean, for some people, I don't think it can come fast enough. I just think it's.
You got any on this?
No, I agree. I think that as you start to look at the different tools and stuff, when we go back to what happened this year with the widespread outage, a lot of people want to go and say, hey, what other tool can we put? Do we pivot to a tool? I think those are good times and inflection points, right? To stand back and go, not a reaction, but like what did that show us? And that showed us what happens when everything goes down. Did your DR plan, did your BC plan work? Or did you find gaps? So maybe not necessarily look for another tool, but look in prospectively.
Yeah.
So that was a good point there. I like that. Do you have anything to add before we pivot real quick? So I want to continue talking about some of the vendor things. Sam is showing me that he's got the second half of our wing experiment ready to go.
Oh, great.
I think this is going to get a little bit more warmed up for you.
Let me help you.
Yeah. The flat on the left
Is the
start on
hottest?
the left.
Start on the left.
Yeah, I don't think you want to mix these up.
No.
Okay, guys, we're on a journey now to 2.7 million Scoville units. For those of y'all who know the blue
Going this way?
chip challenge, that whole social media thing where people are eating the blue chips, we're going to get to the point where it's
right.
hotter than the blue chip. Sam,
Which one do I start to black out on? Okay, perfect.
Sam,
Right.
question for you: have you gotten any in your eye making these for us?
Yeah, accidentally. That's not a fun thing to do.
Is
Don't
it
recommend.
like a science class from high school? He's got an eye washing station in the back that you too can put in your backyard if you live to do this more commonly.
Quick Creekstone plug.
Speaking of that, so I'm glad you just said that. I kind of failed to mention at the beginning, this is our third event to do with Sam Hickey and Creekstone Outdoors. We did a steak event, the first steak event, if you've done those with us before, in the spring location that Sam has. We went to his home and spent time in his backyard doing an event with Cohesity. centered around smoking versus frying a turkey right before Thanksgiving. And then today we're giving away a Big Green Egg. If you aren't familiar with the Big Green Egg,
Where have you
now's
been?
the time.
Like, what are you doing?
Time to figure it out. But these wings today were cooked for us on that egg. There's two different schools of thought. Some do direct heat on wings to try to get a crispier skin. Others like to smoke a wing slowly and then flash fry it to give it kind of a best of both worlds. My preference is the latter. I like to do the flash fry a lot. Today, these are grilled for us and doused with these flavors. So thank you, Sam and Creekstone team for putting these together for us.
Yep.
Okay, other vendors have failed us before. They call them supply chain attacks. They're trusted vendors or trusted actions like, hey, deploy this patch. It's good for you. You need this patch. And then it doesn't go well. Now you're down again. So we're supposed to have preventative security tools. We're supposed to have diligent discipline to things like patching, but it's what's causing the failure. It's really a weird anomaly. If you're listening right now and you're already in this fatigue boat and you think, hey, I'm tired of dumping good money into security tools that end up being the reason I'm down, chime in. Let us know that that's how you're feeling. I got a belief it's more than we believe that feel that way. Let's talk about what do we do now that the vendors failed us, or maybe it's through an attack. We gotta get back up and get back up quick. First of all, Ariel, in our experience, how does someone find out that we even had it? How does someone find out that they're attacked?
Normally it's from some frontline workers calling in and saying, hey, my stuff doesn't work.
So it sounds like we have a technical difficulty, but if we do, y'all feel free to just like scream it. I mean, if we're not on.
Have a technical difficulty.
If we're not on, we're not on.
We're being cyber attacked for sure. They're trying to cyber.
There's so many people trying to watch this, we crashed the stream.
When you come back, hey, when we come
That's
back,
what we froze on, guys. Me?
that's not that bad. It's got to be. Thank you for that quick cyber attack break.
I can't see
Okay,
anything.
perfect. If we're, okay, our commercial break failed, guys. If y'all are still hearing me, give us 1 minute. We'll get the video back up and we'll jump right back in. There's speculation that we have swapped out our wings so that when we come back, we don't actually have those really hot wings. We're not that good of actors. We can't cry on command.
There's also speculation.
Yeah, so we'll be right back, guys.
I think CrowdStrike is.
All right, guys, we have exactly what we were just talking about happening to us right now. Our platform, the one y'all registered on, is having a documented outage or issue. So we are currently troubleshooting with them. I understand our audio is still on, which blows my mind that they're having a video only challenge, but we can still have audio. So here's the good news. Good news is we are recording right now. If you're really, really into this topic, you love the Hot One show, and you want to see us try the 10th wing, then we're still going to go through with it, and y'all can still go back later and see it on YouTube. So I'll make sure everybody gets that. In the meantime, it looks like y'all are stuck on an awful picture of me. So fantastic there. Hopefully in a minute we'll see that catch up, and if it does, we'll just go back to the way we were doing it a second ago. Hey, we're jumping into wing 6.
Let's do it.
I don't know why we'd wait any longer after that.
No, starving.
This is a bourbon maple
Oh, that's good.
flavor. Just gonna start somewhere between a cayenne pepper and a habanero.
Oh yeah, that's pretty spicy.
Pretty hot.
Yeah.
My first flat. They've been drums only for me. Hey, put it in the chat. Are y'all drum fans or flat fans? I'm a flat fan.
Oh, there you go.
Actually, once you figure out the trick on how to break them and pull them out, that was a game changer.
Yeah. Definitely easier to eat as a flat.
Man, that flavor is really good though.
That is.
That might be my favorite flavor of wing yet, but that is certainly the hottest.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's good.
Reaper.
Hey, weren't we just talking about third-party vendors letting us down?
Third-party vendor.
Aren't we
let us down.
literally just talking about that?
We have a couple theories, guys. One, I got a text earlier that CrowdStrike might be mad that we brought it back up. Thought that issue was behind us and they have hacked our feed. Could be. More than likely, this is a coincidence, but
We did use our Uber Eats CrowdStrike gift cards on these wings, though. So yeah, that was good. Yeah.
why are you picking on Uber Eats?
I'm just CrowdStrike gave it to me.
CrowdStrike gave it to me. That's right. Well, they're not here to see it, but I had an entire plug I was going to do. So, guys, if you were seeing me right now, thanks for being with us through the commercial break. This next round is brought to you by Tums. Tums, Center Technologies' go-to for antacid. This is the smoothie flavor Tums. I'm going to put this out here, guys. If you think you need it, go ahead and grab it. Are we back up? Oh, what timing? Tums. All right, guys, we're back. Hopefully everybody's still there and not run away. We're only one wing in. But due to the celebration, let's go ahead and get one more wing in that we're back on schedule. So this is wing number 6? No, 7.
7.
Wing number 7, the forbidden fruit. We've jumped to 125,000 Scoville unit.
Good.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I like that one.
We are now at the early stage of habanero.
Yeah. Taste the habanero. Yeah, that's pretty pica.
Oh, just to zoom in on me while I eat. Thank you guys, appreciate that. Haley, what do we got on questions?
We have a couple of questions. Kind of going back to immutable backups, do you recommend the immutable backups to be your on-site or your off-site backups?
I think through the entire chain, right? You can't expect something if you're going to rely on it to be recovered, you really need that to be across the chain, whether it is at your on-site or to your replication point. You want to look at that data if you ever plan to go back to it. I think we're starting to see a inflection point too with the industry where we've had these industry standards of we've got to keep it for 7 days, we've got to keep it for 7 months, 7 years, and you really have to understand, you know, what does a minimally viable business look like, right? What do we recover to, and is it either by policy or by mandate, maybe in your industry, that forces us to get to those higher numbers? But I think through the chain, you really have to have immutability through the stack if you're using it for a recovery point.
I have a feeling that might create a follow-up question from that one. So Haley, if they ask another question on that topic, interrupt us, let us know. What else are they asking?
Yeah, Tiffany Wood asked, how do they steal MFA token?
Tiffany Wood asked that. Sorry.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, so there is that middleman attack where they can sort of sit in the middle of compromised MFA service and grab the tokens that way. I think that was patched. I think Octa or Duo had that problem.
Yeah.
And but that's a more advanced attack. I think more of what we see is your username and compromised being compromised some way, whether through phishing. So they have that piece. And then you just start getting spammed from push notifications from whatever service you use, and users accidentally click on them. That's the more common, easier, sort of less, more barbaric way, if you will.
We see a lot of the mimicking on this. They mimic the screen that you would fill out your MFA on, or so the Authenticator app helps eliminate some of that stuff.
Yeah.
What you want that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was actually interested in this about a week ago and was trying to set up, figure out how does this man-in-the-middle attack actually get set up. And through some quick little demos on my home lab, I was able to set up and imitate a popular social media platform. I logged in with an old account, and bam, it was right there. It was less than an hour or two of time. Granted, I'm not getting past the EDR. It did flag in my laptop got busted. Todd said, hey, you just went to a phishing site, please stop. But it was crazy to me to see how easy it was for someone who is arguably not a hacker create this system on my house or at my house and basically trick myself. So all of those messages that you're getting on your phone where it says your UPS package is delayed, you're going to click on that, expect a prompt from UPS, and then bam, there you go.
Yeah, so mimicking is not that hard. It sounds like
it's easy.
You could Google it, figure out instructions on how to produce it. A year ago this time, we were talking about still the continuation of ransomware as a service. It's gotten to the simplicity that if I just want to steal a password, I can do that by mimicking. You said you were doing that on social media?
It was
Instagram? So James from Steak Farm had a couple of issues where my pictures were coming down. Were you messing with me?
No, I was not. It was my own old account. But.
Hey, I'm hearing we're frozen yet again. That stinks. Yeah.
Back to you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're a little bit behind.
We're just gonna keep going. So
got a nice little pistol.
Let's hammer the next wing. We're in wing number 8, the bomb. This is 135,000 Scoville units, which now we're firmly in habanero. Not dramatically hotter Scoville unit rating than the last one. I thought if I talk about it long enough, y'all forget I haven't taken a bite.
Nope.
Oh.
That was building.
That's the bomb right there.
Yeah, that is.
That's nothing but heat. There's not a lot of flavor to that.
There's a lot of blast radius there. Wow. That feels significantly hotter.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Oh.
Take one off Scott's plate. Looks like full wing there.
No, I'm good.
All right, so guys, we're down to 2 left, the 2 hottest. The next one jumps from 135,000 Scoville units to 680,000 Scoville units. Remember, we started at 1,800.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a pretty big jump. We haven't had a jump percentage like that yet. So these last 2 are gonna be rough. So we should slow play it. Haley, do you have any questions? Well, I'm giving myself a second to.
Yeah, we got one last question in from Jason Jackson. How good is the Microsoft Defender endpoint compared to third-party vendors?
Oh, his last one was hot.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Sure. So from the testing that I've seen, it's probably a very good solution. We at Center typically use a different product. The biggest challenge that I've seen with Defender for Endpoint is that typically people are not implementing SOC services around it. So just because you have Business Premium with Defender for Endpoint in it and you push it out to everything, you're not going to get a SOC that's watching that. So like all of the Microsoft stack.
Exhaling hurts.
Yeah, there's a little bit of mucus buildup.
Yeah.
Like all of the Microsoft stack, if you have an Exchange server, if you have Office 365 Exchange Online and you don't manage it, you don't go in there and configure it, it's not going to do anything for you.
You're a pro, man. You're walking through that.
I think that the Defender for Endpoint is like that. If you've got Defender for Endpoint and you put a SOC behind it, or you feed that information into something else, you probably will have a good result.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking on that because I couldn't talk for a second.
Yeah.
We find it to be one of our top 3.
That's awesome. Let's do the 9th wing.
No,
Oh, here we go.
All right.
I want to hear what you had to say, Scott, but this one, guys, I'm actually worried about now. The 8th one is much harder than I expected.
All right.
Getting emotional
More
over
flavor.
MFA.
Man.
Oh, Lord. That's hitting the nostrils.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I don't think that one was as hot as the last one.
Well, let's give it a minute.
Not that it's
Yummy.
not hot.
I think the last one may have been hotter.
Okay, so. Kyle, you look like you're ready for a question.
I'm good.
Can you predict restore time?
No, I think that's one of the hardest things to predict, right? You have a lot of variables that come in.
You ask no question. You don't have to elaborate.
No, it's not.
You and me are crying.
Just backups are really emotional for me. No, I think recovery time is something that's subjective to the amount of data bandwidth, what's being hit at that time, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
So what I will add to that is that you can definitely, while you're not going to be able to nail down to the exact 30 minutes,
Oh yeah.
you can build based off of the amount of information, the data restore speeds that you've got,
Yeah.
and then build a framework for how that's going to work in a disaster, right? That's why the tabletops are important, because you can actually test restoring that 15 terabytes of critical data.
Absolutely.
Any questions on that topic before we decide to go ahead and put ourselves out of misery?
No, I think we're good for now.
Okay. So maybe a quick explanation of why I brought it up. If a business needs to figure out their RTO and their RPO, how are they ever going to figure out if the tools they have in place can actually meet that? The answer is manual testing and practice. There's still no substitute for hard work. So we're still going to go through the elements. I say that to say that if you're getting sold an idea that, hey, buy this and I can give you an exact, no one actually has that. We're all selling flawed products to pair together to make a perfect whole. Speaking of flawed products, Sam's waving at me. Do you have a flawed product? Oh, flawed sauce. I hear we're now frozen again, which couldn't be better.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Okay, I'm told I'm on. What I'd like is for the heat to stop.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, guys? What I feel right now is if I inhale indefinitely, if I can just inhale indefinitely, I'm good. But that exhale, the moment it hits. Sam, I think we're back on. What do you got?
We have last experience.
Okay.
How are the wings?
They're terrible.
Perfectly cooked.
Well, here's some extra sauce in case you want some.
So my understanding, this on the show is they pour a little on. This already has it on there.
It does, yeah. I've already doused them.
I don't want that. I don't want that. Do not want.
You sure?
Yes.
Good luck,
All right, guys, we're dabbing.
No.
That's a big dab.
Dab away. Oh,
How many did you do? 3?
No, that's way too much.
you did pretty good.
Wasn't
Okay.
expecting my heart rate to be as high as it is.
It's weird.
The heat I was
That's all
okay
I'm
with,
doing.
but the heart rate.
Your heart rate's always higher around me, but not like this.
I'm dying over here.
Why are you sweating, James?
I'm sweating.
Why are you sweating?
I'm hurting. Sorry I'm laughing so hard. Kyle might die. Can we put a throw pillow beneath him in case he
Yeah,
falls?
just fall over backwards.
All right, guys,
we
10th
go.
wing. Here we go.
There we go.
Jeez.
Oh, that's dumb.
Oh, yeah.
2.8 million Scoville units, just like a pepper.
I think that was an interesting strategy. I put it directly on my tongue, and now I can't feel my tongue, so it's.
So it doesn't hurt. There you go.
It tastes like just what you put on your pizza, right? A little red cracked pepper.
No, it tastes like I just got pepper sprayed by a cop.
Yeah. Put it in the chat. Have you been pepper sprayed before? If so, give us the quick story as to why.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest.
Back it up with video
I'm
if you
feeling
can.
better about last dab than I am the 8th and 9th one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I could eat another last dab right now.
Just don't do your lips. Don't lick the lips.
Don't look at this.
No.
Okay. Haley, I always like to do some questions at the end. Now's the best time to ask us anything.
No, dude, that last one's so hot. It's not burning your throat?
Yeah, it is.
Really?
I do feel better about
We
it.
have one suggestion.
Can't wait.
I dare you to pick your nose.
Oh, swell.
No.
What's next? Give me another suggestion.
R.I.P. James. Frozen on James's face that is screaming, "Help me." Temp
Boy.
check.
I shouldn't have done it. The nose hurts.
James looks like a glazed donut. Yeah. Video froze again. This is earlier, and it's almost the exact same face. Tell him to stop making that face.
God.
It's breaking it.
It's the only face I have, guys. All right. Sam, Creekstone, thank you all for hosting us today. We love this place. Haley, help me out when we get off of this with some medical attention.
You have milk right there.
Oh, totally forgot. Thank you. Guys, appreciate y'all joining us this entire time. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Next event is actually going to be in November. We're doing another whiskey event. No hot wings that time, just straight whiskey. Another barrel's been purchased. We're going to bottle it and get it out to y'all. So join us again next round. Thank you. Oh.
Ready for another one?
Yeah. Can I have some more? I want some more wings.
Oh, that was terrible.
They know I like glazed donuts.
That's fine.
We have more.
All right, now I'm out of water.